I've got breaking news for you. The Senate votes to move to consider the Stablecoin Bill, the Genius Act. This is a huge win. I'll give you the details. And Jpmorgan and Jamie Dimon have capitulated. Jamie Dimon comes out saying Jpmorgan will offer Bitcoin. This is a full 180 from years of calling Bitcoin a scam. And a new stablecoin out of Singapore will be launched on the XRP ledger. This is huge. I'll give you all the details. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, breaking news. The Senate has passed the Genius Act out of the first phase. This is not the actual vote of the bill, but it's the motion to proceed to have this bill reviewed by the Senate, have dialogue and discussion, and then ultimately be voted on. So this is a big win. So while it's not the actual vote to get the bill passed, it's a big hurdle that we had to get through. And many Democrats were against this, but 15 plus Democrats flipped their votes from no to yes. So we got bipartisan support to get this through. And Eleanor Terrett here, she highlighted to just make sure people don't get this wrong, that this is only the motion to invoke cloture, which has passed. The bill itself has not passed yet. The Genius Act will now proceed to the debate and amendment process on the Senate floor. So please understand that the bill itself has not passed. This is just a hurdle they had to get through, and many Democrats are putting up a fight. But a whole set of Democrats flipped from no to yes, and we were able to get this through. This is very similar to what took place last year with the FIT 21 bill in the House. So huge win. Obviously, we need to get through the markup process and the amendment process, and then ultimately the vote. But this was a major hurdle we had to get through. So huge win here. Now, Senator Haggerty was on CNBC this morning. He's obviously the co-sponsor, the main co-sponsor of the bill. It was his bill that he put out called the Genius Act, of course. And he talked a lot about the stablecoin market and why this is important, the US dollar dominance. And it's what I've been saying for a long time, and that is the US is not going to rely as much on China and other countries to buy its treasuries. Stablecoin issuers will do that. So this changes a lot of things. And let me play a clip of what Senator Haggerty had to say.
But this is a payment mechanism, and not to be confused with Bitcoin or something that has a speculative component. This puts us into a digital payment framework, the fastest rails available, much better than the system developed in the 70s and 80s, which is slow. It takes days to clear.
So the issue, as far as I have always understood the stablecoin issue, is what is backing this stuff, and how much of it's backed by actual treasuries versus cash versus equities or something else. What does this say about all of that?
It's not going to be equities. It's going to be high quality, short-term assets, either short-term U.S. treasuries or cash. I think the majority of it will be U.S. treasuries. In fact, what this will do, and the projections are by 2030, this is according to Citibank, stablecoin issuers will be the largest holders of U.S. treasuries in the world.
Wow. Did you hear the statements he made at the end there? He quoted Citibank, which did an analysis that stablecoin issuers will be the largest holders of U.S. treasuries. Think about that. And how the world has functioned historically with the U.S. treasuries and buying U.S. treasuries. And China's been, one of the leaders, of course. It's going to change things geopolitically. I think a major shift is happening. I think the whole tariff stuff with Trump is just a smokescreen because we are readjusting how we may do trades and agreements because we don't need these countries to buy U.S. treasuries anymore because we're going to have stablecoin issuers doing that. And the stablecoin issuers will include not just the crypto startups, not just your Circles and your Tethers, but banks. What did Bank of America's CEO say just a few months back? They are ready to launch their own stablecoin once stablecoin legislation is passed. I hope you are seeing how the picture's coming together here, how all the puzzle pieces are starting to fit. This is the new direction we're going to head in. It's a big change. in monetary policy, in our relationship with different countries and the whole geopolitical setup. It's a massive change because we have the world reserve currency, the United States, of course. So you can see the level of urgency here that Congress would have because it impacts the US dollar. It's not so much that they may care about stable coins and the digital currency aspect, but how does it help the US dollar dominance and what the Fed is doing and the Treasury and much more? So it's very fascinating, folks. This is another Bretton Woods type moment, like after World War II with US dollar and gold and much more. It's so fascinating. And speaking of stablecoins, folks, we got a report here that Circle is courting acquisition bids from Coinbase and Ripple. They are asking for at least $5 billion. This is not a new story. We've been hearing a lot of different reports on this, that Ripple is trying to buy Circle and much more. And it sounds like Coinbase is in the running here. Now, Coinbase already has a huge partnership with Circle, the way they've integrated USDC and all the things they've been doing for a long time. If Ripple is able to do this, oh my goodness, it would make Ripple a powerhouse. And of course, if Coinbase is able to do this, it would be incredible. So let's see who's able to make this acquisition, folks. This would be a massive acquisition, definitely the largest in the crypto industry. Now, moving ahead, you won't believe this news. Jpmorgan to allow clients to buy Bitcoin, CEO says. Folks, I laugh because for years I've been telling you guys on here ad nauseum. I've been telling you, watch what they do, not what they say. Jamie Dimon has been lying to you for all these years, smoke and mirrors. He's been telling you Bitcoin's a scam. You will lose your money. I will fire anybody at Jpmorgan who does anything with this stuff. Remember, he said that in 2017. I was there for it. And in the recent years, he said Satoshi. You know, he's like trolling. He's saying Satoshi wrong. He's like, Satoshi will come back. And how do we know he won't come back and change the code, right? He's been saying all this nonsense. Now, all of a sudden, Jamie's selling this scam. Jamie, what happened? I thought it was a scam. I thought Satoshi's going to come change the code. I thought you're going to fire, your employees if they touch this stuff. All of a sudden, he's going to offer it. Why is this happening, folks? It's the same thing with Larry Fink. Remember, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock years ago, was saying this was a instrument of money laundering and all of that. Then all of a sudden, Larry comes out and says, yeah, Bitcoin's a great store of value. We're going to launch our ETF, buy it through us. It's because Jamie and the bank have now taken a position and now they're ready to sell it to you so they can make money off of it. That's the game. If you don't understand this, please, you have to do more research. Don't just take what these guys say as gospel. You have to go do your own research and educate yourself. And I'm trying to do that here in this podcast. So I hope this is helpful. While he said he's still not a fan of Bitcoin, he said the bank will offer it. Now, of course, Jamie is in that class where he is the CEO of the world's largest bank. He's plugged into the Fed and the Treasury, and they control the currency, right? Jpmorgan is like this massive distribution system for the US dollar, and he's made his wealth, his bank has made his wealth from that. So he's not going to come out and endorse Bitcoin and say, Bitcoin's great, Bitcoin's awesome, because that right there would just shake up his entire business. But the fact that his bank as a business is going to offer this is incredible. And if you recall, he teamed up with Elizabeth Warren just last year, folks. If I'm not mistaken, it was December 2023 or around early January 2024. And remember, they were bashing Bitcoin. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to offer Bitcoin to our clients. And what's interesting, they said they won't custody it, but they will offer it. So they're probably going to use some outside custodian or so forth. But wow, folks. And some other statements he made, he's like, blockchain is not as important as you think. Yet, what did we just report on, folks? Jpmorgan tested tokenized asset settlement on the Ondo blockchain. I reported this news just last week, right? We talked about how Jpmorgan went from its private blockchain, Quorum and JPM Coin, walled garden. No one wants to use that because why would you trust a centralized blockchain? Now they're testing on public blockchains, which are decentralized and more open. And remember, Jpmorgan was an investor in Consensus, helping them to build Ethereum. And that was going on in like 2017 when Jamie was out there saying Bitcoin's a scam. Folks, man, wake up to what these guys are doing. This technology is here to stay. They were bashing it and pushing it down because they couldn't touch it. The regulations weren't there and the environment wasn't there for them to do that. And they were getting disrupted and they were kicking and screaming. And now we are winning, folks. What is this saying? First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. We're winning. Jpmorgan, the king of the hill, the world's largest bank, is capitulating. Jamie Dimon, the Bitcoin hater, crypto hater, is capitulating. And their bank is testing transactions on public blockchains now. How things have changed. And I've been here since 2016. I've seen all of it, folks. You can go look it up, folks. It's all on the internet. Go back and look at Jamie Dimon's statements over the years from 2017 onward, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So it's the same old game. I can't imagine how many people got fooled by Jamie and they didn't take a position. And now Jamie's going to sell Bitcoin to them and use blockchain, the ones he told you are not important and it's all scams and so forth, and didn't allow you to be able to buy the tokens because he told you it's all scams. Yet he's taking a position. There you go, folks. Same old story playing out here, just different asset class. All right, folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Uphold. Uphold is a great crypto platform. I've been using them since 2018. They have 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform, Bitcoin and all the top altcoins. They have over 19 cryptocurrencies that they offer staking for. And folks, I've never had an issue with Uphold. They're safe to use, they're reliable, and best of all, folks, they are fully reserved. So they're 100% reserved, and you can review their transparency report. They also have a great rewards program where you can earn yield on stablecoins such as Ripple's RLUSD and as well as USDC, and you can earn up to 5% on those stablecoins. So Uphold offers a lot of great features, and they feature other assets as well. So if you'd like to learn more, please visit the link in the description. Now, look at this news. We have a new stablecoin out of Singapore that has been minted on the XRP ledger. So the company Straits X, if I'm saying that right, debuted its Singapore dollar peg stablecoin XSGD on the XRP ledger to meet the rising demand for regulated multi-chain digital assets in cross-border payments. Huge adoption of the XRP ledger. There's going to be a lot of haters saying Ripple sucks, XRP sucks, but then they're just making comments on social media while banks and governments and these folks are building on the XRP ledger. This is real world adoption. And I'm not a maxi for XRP ledger or XRP. I hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, of course, and other tokens. I just call it like it is. I'm not here for religion. I'm not emotional about tokens. I'm simply betting on the best projects to try to make as much returns as possible to get more financial freedom. So people can have their tribalism and all that nonsense. I don't care. I'm just looking for adoption, and this is adoption, and I'm about the facts. So XSGD is fully backed by reserves held with DBS Bank and Standard Chartered and is available on multiple blockchain platforms. The expansion of XSGD to the XRP ledger is part of a strategic partnership aimed at enhancing cross-border payment solutions. Huge adoption news for XRP, folks. And look at this. Today, the XRP futures went live on the CME. This is something we've been talking about for weeks. This is a key factor in getting the spot ETF approved. And of course, the SEC wants to see it from an institution like the CME. They did it for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this pretty much guarantees the spot ETF will be approved. Huge news here. Now, there's some drama around Ripple. So Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out, heading to DC to champion sensible pro-crypto legislation around stablecoins and market structure, and I'm very encouraged to see our elected officials look at crypto as it should be, a multi-chain industry. That said, Senator Lummis, as chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, canceled a meeting with me and won't reschedule. As a leader in Congress and senator from one of the most crypto-friendly states, Wyoming, I hope you will reconsider and be a leader for all of crypto. I invite you to join me on an X Space anytime or a live convo on stage at one of the many events we cross paths at to talk about how to make the US the crypto capital of the world. As this is the goal of the Trump administration, I will continue to do everything possible to support that goal. So, some drama here. Senator Lummis, who many folks have called a Bitcoin maxi, I don't know what's going on, so I'm not even going to go further than that. I'm just letting you know what's happening and, reporting the news to you. This is not a good look. I don't know if this was the best idea to call her out like this, but, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe they resolve this in some way, but, Senator Lummis should at least be meeting with different folks in the industry. It shouldn't just be Bitcoin, even though I understand she's a fan of Bitcoin, but this industry is clearly more than Bitcoin. Now, she's been lobbied obviously by Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. I think that's been known for years. So there's a bit of Bitcoin maxi type thing happening here. But look, at the end of the day, we've seen it time and time again. This asset class is more than just Bitcoin. Bitcoin's important, and I'm a big believer in Bitcoin, and I hold Bitcoin, but it's much more. Bitcoin can't do smart contracts. Bitcoin can't do tokenization and all that. Bitcoin is in its own swim lane as hard money, digital gold, a really a decentralized digital currency for payments, real-time payments, stable coins, tokenization, and all that. It can't do that, right? So the Bitcoin maxis can live in their own dream world. Oh, this is going to take down the banks, and yet the banks are now offering Bitcoin. So I live in reality, and but let's see how this plays out. Speaking of Bitcoin, and I shared this news on the live stream this morning, MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin, which is not really news, but they're getting hit with a class action lawsuit, saying that they didn't do a great job, essentially conveying their strategy around Bitcoin. I don't know what timeline this is for, but Saylor is named in the lawsuit and other folks, their CEO and the vice president. So we'll see if this plays out. I don't know if this lawsuit actually has legs. We'll have to see how it plays out, but this is something to watch out if it does become even more serious. And Metaplanet, which is, of course, using the playbook of strategy and Michael Saylor, they bought another 1,004 Bitcoin, lifting their holdings over $800 million. They're using the same playbook by raising debt and then buying Bitcoin. I don't like the excessive amount of debt. That is something that I'm concerned about because we've seen historically, history has taught us that excessive use of leverage will eventually blow up, and it just increases the risk of things falling apart. I hope that doesn't happen because that would be really bad for the market. But, it kind of worries me the amount of debt they're building up here. But anyway, nevertheless, I get off my soapbox. We are seeing a lot of adoption, a lot of growth here. Big news with the stablecoin update. Jpmorgan and Jamie Dimon capitulating. What a day. And hopefully you weren't fooled by Jamie and his comments over the years. And you did your own research because that's important. Folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. You can support me in the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. You can also check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And my new course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. You pay a one-time fee. You get lifetime access. Share to log in with your friends and family. What makes this course unique? It features expert commentary. No other course offers that. You will hear from founders, CEOs, and institutional investors. This course is packed with a lot of value, videos, text write-ups, downloadable materials, a lot of resources. So if you'd like to learn more, go to mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.